go, everybody. My name is James, your experiential life coaching expert, I'm going to say today. And we are here with an experiential interview with the one and only Erica Hutchinson, right? Our hype man, our favorite hype man. Hello, Erica.
Hey.
Really excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for encouraging me to move forward with this interview. We've planned it before, and like you said, you know, life gets in the way and you aren't able to move forward with certain tasks that you have scheduled, but she is here today. And I just wanted to give everybody a little bit of information about Mzizi4LIfe Coaching Solutions. Mzizi4LIfe Coaching Solutions is a values-driven experiential approach to life coaching. And Mzizi actually means the root in Swahili. So today we have Erica Hutchinson here, the author, hype man of the Mental Release Journal, A Journey to Emotional Freedom and Expression. And she is going to be here today talking to us a little bit about social life and friends. That's the category that we're looking at today from the Life Coaching Wheel. The Life Coaching Wheel has 11 different life coaching categories, and social life and friends is one of them. And so we're going to just talk to Erica today about her thoughts, her experiences with social life and friends, and then catch up with some of the other things that she has been involved in. So, Erica, I usually start off the interviews talking about how I met the person, right, that I'm interviewing. And it's so cool the way we met. You know, before the interview started, I was just thinking about that particular day. Right. And it was like the break of spring, like that first warm day. Right. And there was like a yoga group at the lake. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was at 31st Street Beach. It was quite a few of us that got together for Superhuman Yogis. That's him, Superhuman Yogis Chicago event. So it was a good time.
Yeah, and whatever happened to the Superhuman Yogi? Like, he was everywhere on social media, and then
I feel like he changed his. I feel like he did take a break, and I think he changed his name too. But I have seen him sporadically here and there, but not as much as we used to see him.
Okay, and, I remember like you were posted, and I was too. Like posted me practicing yoga. Mm-hmm. Are you still practicing? Like, are you still?
So at the age that I'm at now, it is very important to stretch and get in some yoga moves. Do I have like a rigid yoga practice? No, but I do, I do downward dog and I do, other little yoga moves just to keep us limber. We're only as young as we feel. And my joints was talking to me, and so I'm like, okay, we need to get back to this superhuman yogi type of situation.
Yeah. But Erica, I got your Instagram, information that day, and it's allowed me to kind of keep up with you. Can you believe that was almost 7-8 years ago?
Yikes! Wow.
But you have not allowed any grass to grow under your feet. You've been busy.
Okay. I'm glad it seems that way. Look, I'm glad it seems that way. No, I always try and keep a positive attitude. We don't complain. I've had loss within those years. I've had some very low lows during those times. Been broken in that time period, rebuilt in that time period. So time moves, but we have to, when the storm comes, we have to move with the waves instead of trying to fight it because we're just going to get tired. But storms have come. I float with the waves. Sometimes I try to fight against the waves and it was not a successful fight. So you just got to learn to release, control what you can control, and let everything else happen and stay positive.
Yeah, and the thing you managed to post your positivity. I appreciate that because it encourages me. But you
Good.
maintain that beautiful smile. You have an
Thank you.
award-winning smile, right? And so, but since that time, like I said, you haven't let any grass grow under your feet. You traveled the world a little bit, right?
Little, just a little.
Yeah, just a little. And then you've also written, the mental release journey tied to emotional freedom and expression. You talked about what prompted you to write this journal, become an author.
So it was totally left field. I never had a desire to write a book. I always tell people I am not, a creative writer. So this is not a creative writing type book. And it's really not even a book, it's a journal. And so at my previous job, I realized that the men there, they needed a space to vent and they needed a safe space to express their feelings. And I happened to be that safe space. And I'm like, if all these men feel like this here, how many other men feel like they don't have the space to express how they feel? And do they know what they're feeling? And do they know why they feel the way they feel? So I wrote the mental release journal to give men a safe space to vent, to unpack past trauma, to get in touch with their emotions, to better understand past trauma and the correlation between the behaviors that the past trauma had on them, and to encourage a culture of free journaling. Because I've got some statistics. The American Psychiatric Association says that journaling can help you better understand your feelings and emotions, and it can help manage stress and gain perspective. I feel like being a Black man in the world is one of the toughest things there is, not with just the daily stress of being an adult and navigating work and home life and social life, but also being Black, the problems that being Black brings on us, not just as Black men, but Black women as well. So that's a lot to deal with. And if we don't have a safe space to express ourselves and release some of that tension and jot down how we feel, then, it's all bottled up. When pop bottles is bottled up and it keeps getting shaken and shaken, it explodes. And I don't want that. I want our men, even women, to be able to talk about how they feel, express themselves, release. So the mental release journal, it allows men to hear themselves, recognize and improve themselves through reflection and conscious decisions and actions.
Yes, very well described. Thank you so much. Release. That's exactly what it
is. Mental release.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, 15 thought-provoking prompts, right?
Yes.
And so some of the, I wrote down a couple of prompts that you post, on your page, and we can talk a bit more about those. But so I just wanted to kind of weave the journal into the topic for this month, which is social life and friends. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But this year, for the whole year, I try and pick a different theory, right, to deconstruct and incorporate into the life coaching process. And so for this year, it's experiential learning, which is actually doing, right, being involved in an experience, then reflecting, which is, I guess we can say journaling is, but
definitely
learning from our reflection and then what we learn into future experiences. That right there. So, so can you talk to me just a little bit about the reflections you've had in writing the journal, talking to other people who have bought the journal, participated in some of the prompts? What experiences have you had?
So I've noticed that people hold a lot of built up tension, either subconsciously or they know that they're tense, but they don't know the origins of the tension. And so people have told me that this journal has allowed them to realize, oh, I act this way because of my relationship with my mom, or I have relationships with men like this because of the relationship that I have with my mom or the relationship that I have with my father. So people are using this journal to really tap into their character and why they act the way they act. I've had men and women tell me that from ages like 17 to 60 that they cried doing this journal, because in the journal there's a prompt. There's two separate prompts. One prompt that asks about the relationship with your father, and there's another prompt that asks about the relationship with your mother. And I had a young lady, or an older woman, tell me that when she was writing the letter to her mom, all these emotions just spilled out of her of things she couldn't express. Even a young man told me that as well. Like, I was able to, write about how I felt about my mom in this prompt. And now my relationship with her now is better because I was able to express how I felt about her in this journal. And I've also shared some of what I wrote to my mom. So we're really trying to heal relationships. We're trying to heal families. We're really trying, and I do it for the men because I feel like they're the head of the household, right? So if we can get the head right, the whole body will follow. So that's the psychology of it for me. And that's what I've heard and learned from what people have told me, that when they have done the journal, they're learning things about themselves that they didn't know. They're realizing their characteristics and how their personality has been shaped because of past trauma. They're realizing that the people in their life is not, really helping them with forward progression. So it's really a journal to really take a look at our entire life, to be able to make the changes that we need to make to become our best self.
So an opportunity to kind of readjust like certain relational ties or relationships.
Yes.
So Erica, this question isn't on the prepared questions.
Okay.
So what is it like for you, like on a normal day? Like, do you get people who come up to you and say, hey, I got the journal?
No.
You haven't? No? Okay.
No, I'm not a celebrity.
Well, you see how I already feel, right? So
yes. No, people do not come up. They be like, ma'am, can you get out my way? No, people don't come up to me and be like, you saved my life. No, not at all. Yeah. But the goal is, the people that have done the journal, they will reach out to me either through Messenger, or I have close people that have done the journal. They'll text me like, Erica, this journal, like, I need your positivity. Sometimes I'll go back and watch the videos, because I did do for the 15 prompts, there are videos that guide you through answering the questions. Oh. So that comes with the journal as well. So sometimes I've had people tell me, Erica, I went back and I watched the videos just to get some extra positivity in my life, because it's in the world is a lot of negativity, and it could drain you. I used to be I know this is not like a question that you asked, but I was the person that would watch all of Trayvon Martin's footage, watch the trial, watch the riots, and that weighs heavy on your mental. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That weighs heavy on your spirit. If my mental health is not good, I'm not going to succeed at work. I'm not going to succeed in my social life. I'm not going to succeed in my personal life, self-care type thing. So I had to find a way to break away from watching this trauma. And that's the thing that's also in the journal. In the journal, there's like footnotes of like affirmations. And one of them is, you can only control what you consume. So if I'm watching, I'm thinking 5 senses. If I'm watching trauma, if I'm listening to like music that invokes violence, if I'm eating food that I know is not going to nourish me, if I'm putting like toxic lotions and things on my body, I'm just consuming toxic, So I know I went off on a tangent, but we have to control, we can control. So
just to walk in.
I try and be positive.
You do a great job, Erica. And that's one of the reasons I thought you would be a good person to cover social life and friends, because one of the things you do post is just your interaction with different friends. And it's so loving, so warm. So when you got, the request to participate in this interview, and then you got the life category, what kind of thoughts came up for you when you started thinking about social life and friends?
I thought it was very good that you realized the impact that our inner circle has on our personal development, because I'm really big on self reflection and becoming our best self. Um, I like to see people win. I like to see people fall in love with themselves and learn themselves. Because if you think about it, if I'm in love with myself, I'm going to want somebody, and I know how good that feels. I'm going to want somebody else to feel what I'm feeling for themselves. You know, so we're trying to, our inner circle pours into us. And so they have an impact on our personal development. So I was excited that you asked me to do this for Social Life.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you accepted the offer to allow me to interview you. And so, you said you have some videos to support the prompts as well. So, are the videos the same videos that you post in the IG? They're different.
They're different. They're actual videos that go along with each 15 prompts from the journal. And so these reflections that I post on social media, these are just, things that I'm always thinking. And I'm always in like, so okay, I got a secret. I have social anxiety. So I'm always, whenever I go out, I'm always thinking about, okay, what can we talk about in this type of setting? And I'm always overthinking and trying to plan out the steps of how the event is going to go. And so when I'm in that space, sometimes it could be overwhelming because I do have social anxiety, but I'm trying to put myself in situations that allow me to work through the social anxiety. I even have it like with close friends. I hadn't seen my one friend in like months. And this is my best friend for like 17 years, 17 plus years. And I was nervous to go out with her. And it's like, why are you nervous? But it was the anxiety. So that's where I get the reflections from, because I'm always in go mode, overthinking, social anxiety. So that's where I come up with these reflections to answer the question.
Yeah, so that's cool. And thank you for sharing that you have social anxiety. No one would ever know, right?
Huh?
I said no one would ever know.
No one ever believes me when I tell them.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's the important thing, though, too. When someone tells you, "Hey, this is what's going on," we have to, accept and acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what I what I did want to ask, though, okay, so not only did you accept the offer, to allow me to interview you, but you completed the Solution Focused Life Wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
You did it very creatively, and you scored. So
I didn't know. I didn't know how I did it wrong.
No, you did it right. Like,
okay.
You're only the second person that I've given the assessment tool to, and they've managed to like download it and draw like with the in that comes in your device. Yeah, so that's why I say creatively. Like you can tell you have knowledge of information technology. So thank you.
Okay.
You did it great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you scored high. You scored above an 8. Right? I mean, you scored an 8, actually. And so can you give me an idea of some of the factors you considered when you scored yourself so high? What kind of contributes to you scoring an 8 in the area of social life and friends?
Probably because I've weeded out a lot. I don't know if that's the right word. I've weeded out a lot of, is that the right word? I don't know.
Yes.
But anyway, I've weeded out a lot of people, not a lot of people, but I've trimmed my circle. So I do not, and I feel good with the people that I have in my life, and that the people that I have nourished our relationship. So I feel good with the people that I take time to stay in contact with, the people that I want to keep up with. I have a good circle, and that's why I could score myself an 8, because there was a time when I did have people that would drain the life out of me, and just people that just didn't make me feel good, people that that I knew did not have my best interests at heart, people that I knew were envious of me. And I had kept those people in my life, but it didn't feel good. So I scored myself an 8 because I'm comfortable with my social life and friend circle currently.
Okay, and so you said you did some pruning, right? Maybe is that a big word?
That's what it is. That's the
Pruning.
word. Thank you.
Okay. So thanks for sharing that. So your circle was a little bit larger at one time, and then you kind of scaled down a little bit.
So I've never had like a lot of friends.
Okay.
But I had enough. And so yes, I pruned my friendship garden.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, yeah, weeded out was the word you didn't want to use, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay, so looking at some of the other life categories on the wheel, for a 4 in business and wealth. So some of the pruning or some of the strengths that you exhibit in your social life and friends, are those strengths transferable to wealth and business?
So I feel like, I know that I scored low on wealth and business because it's something completely new that I'm getting into, as far as like being an author and a speaker, and just this whole social media page that I have, our mental release journey page, is something new. So I don't know what I'm doing. With my friendships, they're all seasoned. I know them well enough to know how to communicate effectively through our conflicts. And with this new business, it's scary. And you're always a little timid in new waters. So that's what I'm feeling. That's why I gave myself a 4, because I'm learning every step of the way. Like every hour, every minute is a learning thing. It's like, yikes, this should be easy by now, but it's not. My friendships are easy. Not saying we don't have conflicts, but I know how to address them and move forward and work through them. With the business, it's like trial and error with everything. And that's why I scored myself 4 for that.
Okay. All right. And so, can't you say you're enjoying it though? Isn't it a lot of fun, like creating a social media presence?
No. No, being honest, I have a love-hate relationship with social media, simply because I think people overshare. I think some things could be kept private, and so I have pruned my social media page as well, with pages that help me and pages that pour into me, instead of pages that make me overthink things that I shouldn't have to overthink. But with social media, I'm more of the type of person that likes to get to the end of a thing. I don't like the process. I'm ready for the end. And that could be because of my anxiety. I don't want to have to go through the anxiety of going through it. I just want it to be over. And so in this stage of my life, I'm trying to learn how to love the process. And that's with just doing things consistently. So I'm being more consistent on social media, and being more intentional with how I post and what I post, and just being more consistent with even just like my daily routine, so it can help me be consistent and successful in other areas. But I did say that I did not like social media, and another reason why I don't is because I feel like a lot of people on social media want to tell you what to do because they have all the answers. I feel like a lot of people feel like they have all the answers and how they're the experts and they're going to teach a master class on this and teach you how to be. But people don't, no one has lived before, no one has the answers. There's no one that can tell you, James, this is what you have to do to be successful. You can't tell me that, because you can't tell me what my definition of success is. So, and with my social media, I try to facilitate. I like to ask questions. I never want to be the person that comes off as an expert. If you want to improve yourself, you got to do this every day. No, that might not work for you every day. you might not be able to put in 120% every day. Some days you might only have 40% to give, and another day might be the 120. But at the end of the week, if we average out to 100%, 90%, 100, then we accept that progress and we celebrate that progress. You know, we never know what everybody's 24 hours. Everybody does not have the same 24 hours. People are battling anxiety. People are battling depression. People are battling, you know, being a caretaker. So I can't sit here and tell you I'm an expert and I could tell you how to be the best person that you can be, because I don't know what you're up against. I can give you examples. I can give you, you know, some tools that you can use, but who even knows if those tools are going to work for you? So that's why, you know, I said no to social media. I just try and be the person that's going to help. I consider myself your personal hype man. I'm going to hype you up, but I'm not going to tell you what to do.
So you're not going to come across as the expert hype man. Right?
No, I want to help you. I'm not going to tell you exactly what you need. I don't have the answers for everybody. I have suggestions, but no.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Erica. So,
I'm sorry, that was super long-winded. I'm sorry.
Not at all. Don't apologize. That's what we're here for. We got 30 more minutes. I say 45 minutes to an hour for each interview. So, 30 minutes. You're doing great.
Yay!
So you're growing into the use of social media, and you plan to use it to improve that score in business and wealth. Huh? Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that a good summary? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so the accountability circle, right? Who holds Erica accountable? Like, I was just thinking while you were talking, I was like, well, this interview and recording yourself is a form of accountability because it's stored like forever, and you can go back like a couple months from now, look and see how you've grown. But what people within your group of friends will hold you accountable and say, look, Erica, you said this, but you're doing this?
All of them. All of my friends. Because I told you I picked some good people, and I've cultivated some good relationships. And so especially at this age now, I'm 35. And so I think I feel like it's hard to make friends at this age, but the friends that I have managed to hold on to and cultivate, they will hold me accountable, and I will hold them accountable as well. So we don't hold anything back. We don't sugarcoat. My friends are like tough love, nothing sweet, all spice. So, but I think, I'm sorry, what did you say?
I was going to say, is that one of the requirements that level of reciprocity has to exist?
No, I need the people in my circle. They need to be able to help me grow.
Okay.
They need to be wanting to grow. They need to be positive. We don't want people in our circle that's always negative. Mm-hmm. We want people in our circle, like, I want to make my friends proud. I want to make my family proud, you know? Right, and so that helps me to keep going. I don't want to be the friend that's the trash. I don't want to be the trash friend, you know? So, and it's not a competition, but I want to make my people proud.
I like that one. Make your people proud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Erica, so I think you might have answered this question already, but was there a period in your life where the score was lower than an 8? I think you might have answered that when you said that you had friends in your circle who were draining, right?
Yeah. Yes. There was I've always had social anxiety. The earliest time I can remember it was like in college. But I hit it well. I'm big on fake it till you make it. So I'm currently, like I said earlier, I do put myself in situations that will allow me to work through it. But I have gotten a lot better. Like, I'm not as, I don't have as much anxiety as I did have before, like in college. But I do think that I hit it well. So just always timid, in college and even after college. But I'm working through it. So I forgot what the question was.
So
did I answer it?
Yeah, the period of your life, like where the score wasn't quite an 8.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was around college, even up until, I want to say up until like maybe 2018. That's not that far off.
No.
No, not at all. That's a long time, because I also suffered with like low self-esteem and like low self-image.
Okay.
So just being able to work through, and I had friends that contributed to my low self-esteem and low self-image. So that's why I say it's important to have good people around you, because we don't want people that's going to play on our insecurities and throw them up in our face and make us feel worse than we already do. And I had friends like that. So yeah, and that's why I was able to rate myself so high, because I know how low I was.
Erica, like for you to say you had challenges with self-image and low self-esteem, like to me, like you are the essence of Black girl magic, because I just never know. Yeah, I just never know who's gonna pop up on the screen today. I mean, you get. You are not constricted in your appearance with the way you will appear or your fashion style at all. So it's great,
Thank you.
that, and that's not what you portray today. So
yeah. Yay, thank you. I worked hard to be confident. It was like, what? It doesn't make sense. I have to be, it's like, Erica, you have to be with yourself for the rest of your life. What is the point in not liking yourself? What's the point? It gets tiring. Like, I gotta wake up to me. I gotta look in the mirror. I gotta be with me 24/7, 365. So it comes to the point when it's like, what's causing you to be insecure? Why don't you value yourself? And let's fix this. So, and your friends, if you got good friends, they can pour into you and show you things that you didn't know that you had. Like, man, I guess I am this type of person. Thank you for that. So that's why it's important to have friends that pour into you and not take away. That's why I scored high on my social life.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, leave it for somebody else to not like me. I can't not like me. So
right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, Erica. So I feel like the end of 2019, 2020 was the make or break for personal relationships, self-image, self-appraisal, self-reflection. What new information did you gather about the importance of friendships and relationships during during the pandemic, America, post George Floyd? You talked a little bit about Trayvon Martin and President 45.
I brought up Trayvon Martin because he was actually the last Black public execution that I would allow myself to watch.
Wow.
After that, I said, I'm not doing this to myself anymore. So that's why, like, I didn't follow George Floyd as much as the media would have you to, because I didn't need the trauma on me. But I learned that community is important during, 2019. Community is definitely important, but I also love my solitude. To be able to reflect, to be able to check in with myself. Erica, how do you feel today? Does anything hurt you physically? Do you need to stretch because you're getting up there in age? You know what I mean? So community is important, but I do love to be able to have time alone just to gather my bearings. My friend and I caught the COVID together. I think we got the Omicron. And so I was confined to my bedroom. She was confined to her bedroom in her house, but just to be able to, we would FaceTime all the time. And just to have somebody to be with during this alone time where you're sick and you feel bad and you're scared and you're crying because you don't want to give the disease, the virus to your family, just to be able to have her during that time, that let me know the importance of community. I even had another homie that would check on me every day, like, you good? How you feel? Are the symptoms, coming down? So it's important to have people that are genuine and that genuinely care about you and your well-being. So that's what I learned from the virus and, you know, the 45th president, George Floyd. Community is important, but you also need solitude.
Yeah.
Personally.
So it sounds like you created some new boundaries like for yourself, right?
I have recently.
What you could take in and what you couldn't take in.
Oh, right. Exactly. Yes. I never even thought of that as a boundary, though. That's really good. Thank you for that, James. I didn't even think that was a boundary, but it definitely is.
Yeah. You're welcome. And then you said checking in with self too. Like that's important for you as well.
Yeah. Simply because if I don't know how I feel, I don't know what type of energy I'm putting out in the world. You know, I was at work the other day, and the lady, one of my coworkers said, you okay? And I thought I was, but thinking back on it, I was not. And she felt that energy, you know, but because I didn't do that self-reflection, I wasn't able to, you know, change my mood. And we're not always going to be able to change our mood because we need to let our feelings feel, and we need to be able to, like I said, ride the waves and let them take their course. But I could have maybe done something to not bring the energy into the office. You know, I never want to be the person that brings the bad energy in. Right. But I did that day, you know. Life happens.
Right. And then you forgive yourself, of course, right? You
definitely
take a look at what's going on, shake it off, and then, you know, come back better.
That part.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. So if a person is experiencing barriers, Erica, like with their friendships, and they can't, you know, establish healthy boundaries, they, you know, don't have a sense of community, are there any words of encouragement, prompts from the journal you would suggest, blogs, videos you would recommend?
I would definitely recommend my journal, the Mental Release Journal, because where is it? Because it helps us to communicate. Yes. You know, communication is key. And the journal improves our interpersonal, our communication with ourselves and our communication with other people. I have a friend, and our wires always get crossed, and it could cause conflict, but we know how to communicate now. When you said this, I felt like you were saying this, and it made me feel this way. And she can rebuttal and say, I'm sorry that you felt that way because of my actions, but that was not my intentions. You know, so if we can communicate what the action was, I feel this way because I feel like you did this, then it doesn't put fault on the other person. It allows them to see your perspective and be able to show you, okay, I see your perspective, but that's not the way I wanted it to come off. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then kind of like just agreeing to disagree, or?
It's not always agreeing to disagree, because it could be something like, hey, you hung up the phone for me very quickly and that hurt me. Okay, I had to hang up very quickly because I had an important call coming in and I couldn't miss it. So I'm sorry you didn't hear me say goodbye, but I wasn't trying to hang up on you. So it's like, oh, I see why that happened like that. Okay. So it's not agree to disagree, it's just seeing the other side of the situation.
Okay, so kind of like agreeing to work through, like you have like an unspoken commitment to working through the conflict with this particular friend, right?
All of my friends. If we're friends now and we've been in this friendship we have years in this friendship, it's definitely a commitment that we are going to work through whatever, because we need friends. And I know that if you know your friend has a pure heart and they care for you and they genuinely want to see you win, then we make the friendship work by any means necessary, because you know that the actions are never going to be malicious. It's never going to be malicious intent behind their actions. It just can be a simple misunderstanding.
Actions will be loving and nurturing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Erica, you posted a couple of reflections on your IG account that are related to the topic of social life and friends that I wanted you to elaborate upon. So one of the first ones I thought was really good. It says, "Don't place your completeness in someone else's hands." Is that from the journal, or is that just like your personal? No.
No, that's these are everything on social media is all new things. It's not from the journal. This is just something. It's important to not be codependent, because if you're codependent, that can produce low self-esteem. You don't have boundaries. You want to people please just because you need someone to pour into you because you can't see your worth yourself. So it's a never-ending cycle of searching outside of yourself for worth.
So keeping an eye on codependence.
Yeah, we don't want to be codependent.
Yeah.
Not for self-worth. We don't want to be codependent.
Okay. All right. Okay, so here's another good one. It says, "Go where you are celebrated and can be authentically you." Is that really an experience? Like, when are you your most authentic? When and where are you your most authentic self?
I really like to be with I feel authentically me when I dance, right? So I have like a little workout room with like a record player, and I'll just, put on music and I'll feel good dancing, right? But have you ever been in a situation when you're with friends and you guys are out and you're laughing and you're having a good time, and then like you take a step back out of yourself and you're like, hey, this is a really good time. I really love these people. And in the moment, everything just feels right. Like, have you ever had one of those moments?
Yeah.
Those moments feel good. It feels like, those moments feel like you could conquer anything. So it's important to have a space like that, even if it's not with other people, that you could feel like, I know, even though this is going bad over here, I know that I have a space that feels good. And I don't always have to be in a space that feels like tension. If your job has tension, if there's strife and tension in your home, if you have that space where you can feel authentically you can go there, rejuvenate yourself, refill your cup, and go handle business outside in the horrible world. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. So having that place of authenticity that you can be in or go to.
Yeah, that makes you feel good. It fills your cup up. It lifts your spirit. It gives you the strength to do things that don't feel good. It gives you the strength to deal with, obstacles in life. If I can feel good for this moment and I can go there, then I can come back, take care of this. If it drained me too much, I can go back to that space. Even if it's like meditating, if you meditate and you could meditate and go to that sacred place where you feel safe and secure and authentic. Because that goes back to what we talked about earlier. Yikes, what was it? It was a really great connection, but I can't remember it. My mind.
It's okay. It's all recorded. It's gonna come back to you.
Okay.
So listen, Erica, this is your hour, right? This is your interview, but I had a moment of clarity. So I like celebrations, right? And I hope that this doesn't tell on me like how Americanized or how capitalized I am, but I like the holidays. Like I feel like my most authentic self, like when I'm popping firecrackers on 4th of July or decorating for Christmas, you know what I mean? So thank you for that.
Yay, I'm glad that you had that realization. That's fun.
Yeah. Okay.
It gives you something to look forward to.
It does. Does. Yeah, that's what I think about. Like, so Erica, we're gonna wrap up this last 10 minutes with talking about your trip to Africa. Now you talk about authenticity, right? You can't get it there if you didn't like your authentic self there. I'm not sure. So can you tell us about this trip?
It was a great trip. It was definitely top 2 trips that I've been on. I've always wanted to go there, so it was really a dream come true.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that I would have more of a spiritual connection when I went there, but I didn't. But that's okay as well. It was just really good to be there and see the continent. It really, well, the country, it really made me realize, though, that even though we think that there's a big difference outside of where we are, it's things are the same. You know what I mean? We have the slums here, the slums there. We have the affluent parts of the city, and I'm in Chicago. We have affluent parts in Chicago. There are affluent parts in Kenya. So we stayed at this beautiful beach resort in Mombasa, Kenya, off the Indian Ocean. We rode a camel on the coast of the Indian Ocean. We went to see a nomadic tribe, which was really cool to see how they live, and see the roles that the men and the women play. So it was a really great trip.
So overall, you felt like there was no big difference with you being an American woman versus African people. You didn't feel like there was this, because they say that there's certain people that say like Africans and Americans have this divide, this division. So you didn't really experience that.
I didn't experience that at all.
That is good to hear.
Everybody was welcoming. Everybody was nice. And I went there with just good intentions. And I used to be the type of person that would always carry fear with me and always think about the worst things that can happen. So I'm trying to get out of that. So I always try and keep a positive mind. And it was just a very positive trip. I did not feel any strife from the African women or men. It was a great time. And I've always just been proud to be Black. So I loved it.
Yeah. So coming back home, like, what was it like? Like, did you feel like, I'm sure you feel like some form of, reinvigorated, like clarity? Did you?
What I will say is the food there is so clean and fresh. Like there's no nitrates in their food and the meat. So for a time I was vegan, vegetarian, more so vegan. And it was because I did not want meat, because I thought meat was bad. And when I went to Kenya, I ended that when COVID started. So I think I became vegan in 2014, and then COVID came, and I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. But I was having like I don't want to call them health issues, but I was feeling pain in my body before I went to Kenya, and it was very scary. But when I got to Kenya, and maybe the second or third day we were there, I realized that my body felt great, and I'm attributing that to the food that we were eating. So the biggest thing coming back home was like, Erica, you really have to be more cognizant of the type of food that you buy and where you get your food from, because it's not the meat that's bad. It's what they put in the meat here. It's how they raise the animal. It's how they kill the animal. It's how they feed the animal to give to us. So that was the biggest takeaway. The food over there is very healthy. I would like to stay for like a month just so I can get back healthy.
Yeah. How long did you stay? How long were you there?
We stayed like 7 days, a week.
Okay. Good amount of time. And then just thinking about, meat and how it's raised and how it's, slaughtered, like the meat we consume grows up in a traumatic environment, right?
Yes.
And so if we eat it, like, what are we going to be? But I'm not going on that tangent.
That's a whole different conversation.
Exactly. We're here to talk about social life and friends. So, so I wanted to just thank you for taking the time out today to catch up, talk a little bit about social life and friends, your travels, the mental release journey, and all the great stuff that you're doing with it.
Thank you.
But wrapping up, checking out, how are you feeling?
I feel very good. I'm feeling hopeful. I try and keep a spirit of hopefulness just because it gives you something to look forward to. So I'm feeling ready for the second quarter of the year.
Yes. Are we halfway through? Just about.
April will be the start of the second.
Yeah, it's only been 4 months into the new year. That's kind of hard to believe.
It is.
Yeah, it seems like it was just New Year's Eve. Like, yeah.
Yes.
Hey. All right. So I think, okay, so last question. I think, can you tell people where to find you? Give us your IG handle, a little bit about the book, where to purchase the book.
So the Mental Release Journal is on Amazon. I don't know if people will be able to see this, but it's on Amazon. It is also available on my website, which is www.ourmrj.com, OURMRJ.com. My social media, Instagram, I'm more active on Instagram. That is Our Mental Release Journey on Instagram. I'm working on a curriculum for the book just so that I could be able to facilitate the book for high school kids, men in prison, church groups. So we're working on the curriculum. Yeah.
So, Erica, you did mention some public speaking. Have you spoken publicly to some groups?
I have done public speaking for a high school, Chas High School. I did a mental health chat with them. And then I also did some speeches for Iota Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated.
Okay.
I've done speeches for their national convention and for a group that they have for young women, teaching them how to be, not teaching them, but helping them learn how to love themselves and be positive. Because I don't have all the answers. I think, I do what I think is right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people are the experts of themselves, right?
Yeah, sometimes. We need to use the Mental Release Journal to figure out who we are so that we can become the expert of ourselves.
Yes, definitely get the journal. Look out for Erica Hutchinson speaking engagements. Purchase a journal. Check out her IG page. Erica, I just want to again thank you for taking the time out to talk to me today about social life and friends. This interview today was brought to you by Mzizi4LIfe Coaching Solutions, which is a values-driven experiential approach to life coaching. You guys help me to thank Erica closing out. Erica, have a wonderful remainder of your 2022. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. You're welcome.
Take care.
Bye-bye.